Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today I'm going to be doing something slightly different. I'm actually going to be doing a drawing. So got my paper here all set up in position, so hopefully it will stay focused in the right place there. And I'm going to be using a Sharpie pen, and then I'm also going to be using some of these Liquitex kind of acrylic paint pens. So I'm going to be using some of those. People always want to watch me draw, which I'm never too sure why. Well, I suppose just out of curiosity, I suppose. So I'm going to be doing this live. I'm not going to edit this because firstly, I hate editing anyway. So you just have to dip in and out of this as I kind of go along. So I'll probably do a bit of talking as we go along. But if you just want to put some music on, relax and just watch it without me yakking on, you're more than welcome to do so. So I'm going to do something slightly different with this one. I'm going to actually start by putting the colour on. So you're going to hear me rattling these things around because I have to mix them and get the ink going. So that's what I'm going to be doing first. So I'm going to just be putting some shapes on here first. Probably after 5 minutes, you'll realise why nobody does anything live and they edit, because it is going to be very, well, I say boring, but depends if you're used to seeing anybody paint or not, I suppose, and draw. These pens are funny, actually. Some of these colours are a lot better than others. I don't know if it's a case of how you mix it or what, I'm not too sure. Look, for example, here, I've got two reds that are supposed to be the same, but if I put this red next to that one, you can see that is a lot darker, more pleasing to the eye. But they're quite nice pens, these. They're kind of quick and easy way to get colour. And if you want to do something, just sort of freehand. This is one of my favourite colours coming up here. I think they call it, well, this is called Brilliant Blue, but I don't, actually it's called something else. It's called Cerulean Blue or something like that. So I'm just going to whack these on, and then we're going to do a pattern to join the whole thing up. Looks a bit like a Coco the Clown jobby at the moment, but believe me, it will get a bit better. At this point, probably after people have finished watching anyway. So, so if you're still here after 30 seconds, well done. Nothing else, we've got some nice dots. So just using the primary colours really. And if you ever do anything like this, don't make it too hard on yourself. If you can draw circles, you can do this. If you've got a ruler, you can just join the whole thing up. So that's what I'm going to start to do next. I've got my trusty old Sharpie pen here, which I don't have to shake. By default, I was shaking it. And I'm just going to put some lines going through these. I don't want to actually go through on that occasion. And they're kind of random. Kind of is and it isn't actually, because I want to create a bit of a shape. I'm not going to go through that one. Be careful, it kind of does bleed sometimes. This paper isn't fantastic, it's just like cartridge paper that I'm using here. But it just happens to be what I've got at the moment. And actually, one of the places where I used to get my drawing pads from, unfortunately, is closing down. So I'm going to be struggling really to get some decent paper. I say decent paper that I like using. I'm going to go slightly different on this one and put, it's going to be slightly offset there. I don't know if you can see on the corner there, but not ideal. Can I get that lined up? Probably can do. Let's see how we go. Okay, and I'm just going to stick one through here if my ruler is long enough, which it just about is. And as I always say, when you do these kind of designs, you're kind of looking at what you've got, the shapes you've actually got in between, if you like. So we've already got some quite nice triangles and things like that. I'm going to just introduce a bit more colour onto this now. Obviously, when you're using these kind of pens, you do need to make sure that the colour's actually dry before you then go ahead and do the next bit. So I'm going to do another blue. Now, normally I would be turning this around. I will turn it around, but I've got to be quite careful that it's still in line so everybody can see what I'm doing. Otherwise, there's nothing worse than somebody doing something that's been off camera. So I'm just going to move it up a little bit so people can see what I'm doing. I'm going to use the other side of the ruler as well, because if I use that side of the ruler, I've used the black on. I don't want to contaminate my nice blue pen, so I'm just checking that it's fairly okay. That I'm going to put, I want to put a blue line down here. Not sure why, but I want to. I'm hoping it's not going to bleed into that. No, it's not. Okay, that's good. Bit 2. Might even put 3. And these pens are really good actually, because you can layer over. So that's gone over the black, so it is quite good. I'm now going to turn this around. I'm going to do something similar on another portion, if I can see. Yep, it's still in frame okay. So I'm going to whack another one along here. If you can hear a cat in the background meowing, it's my cat Clyde, because my other half's in the garden and he wants to go in the garden to join him. Great timing, eh? So they say never work with pets and children or something like that. So never work with a cat. Okay, I think we've got a bit of a theme coming on there, because I quite like these lines. That one's gone a little bit thicker, a bit more of a gap there. So I'm going to do, as all these things, if something hasn't gone quite right, you're just going to go with it. I'm going to exaggerate that line there and make that thicker, because I just couldn't get the distance between the two slightly right. So that's what we're going to do. I could be using the thicker part of this pen, turn it round at 90 degrees into the thicker part. But the only thing is, if I do that, you kind of lose a bit of the detail. I don't want to do that. Right, okay, so we're happy with that. Now I'm going to start using a smaller pen. She says, looking for, I've got a smaller black pen somewhere. It's not like that, but it's kind of similar. I can't find it. Oh, there it is. Okay, so these are quite good. So I use these are Faber-Castell pens, and you can get these. They're quite good value actually. I bought this in a general store actually in Wales. It's quite good value. They're made in, I'm going to say they're made in Germany, which I quite like. So they're not made in China, which is good. And I'm sorry if that sounds a bit naughty saying that, but I'm afraid a lot of stuff made in China is just rubbish. So I prefer to have decent makes. Now these come in different, if you can see that. So on the ends of these, you've got how thick the nibs are. So, and that goes for anything actually. Also, it goes for like anything, even like your pop-up pens here and that kind of thing. Like you will see what kind of, that's a 0.7 and how thick the actual nib is. So something, if you're fairly new to drawing, we'll take note of that. I'm a bit rubbish because even though I look at the figures and that, I always end up having just drawn a bit of paper to see what it is actually like in real life, because sometimes what they say on the end and what is actually happening are two different things. So I've got a 0.5 here. So this is a Faber-Castell marker. They call it a Pitt Artist Pen Fine Line. That sounds terribly posh, doesn't it? But these are really good. They're water fast as well, so kind of waterproof once they're on there. And I'm going to start filling in some of these smaller gaps with just a few squiggly lines here. There we go. I'm going to just exaggerate that there. I'm going to put a squirrely circle thing in that one. Here I'm going to do some stripes. This reminds me of something, I'm not really too sure what. I'm going to do some squiggly lines going down there. It's a good word, isn't it? Squiggly. Don't hear people say that very often these days. Dots in that one. Try and make each one of these slightly different, otherwise it gets a bit boring. And am I still in shot down there? Unless it's standing up. Yep, I am. It's good. I could go, yeah, could go kind of parallel to that, which I think I'm going to do. I'm just going to do half on that, and I'm going to go again. So that parallel line is kind of with that, and I'm going to do another one coming down here, I'm going to do half, and that's picking out on the camera. And now this one here, I'm going to do something with that because that's almost like going into that, but I'm just going to I'm going to kind of keep that separate. I'm not bothered that the actual colour has gone over into the line, to be honest. As I said before, don't get too sort of precious or worry about these things too much. Just kind of go with it. This one, I think I'm going to do a bit of a cross thing on it. So you're going to go crossways on that. And I think we're going to do something down here, if you can see that. Yep, just move that around there. I'm just going to do a squiggly jobby on that one. And something similar on that one. Okay, down here, I'm going to do like an intersection on this, like a half circle. I'm going to draw that circle, that line going through that, I think. It's not a perfect circle, but I'm not particularly worried about that. I'm going to start to put some more black into this now, but I think I'm kind of going to go freehand maybe on the black. Could I go that way? Sometimes I do this actually. I don't know if anybody else is the same, but when you're drawing, you kind of use your elbow as like a bit of a pivot kind of thing. So see my elbow slightly off camera here, down to the bottom right hand side, but it does give you a nice arc. And sometimes if I'm looking to draw something, I'll just do a bit of a dummy run kind of thing, so it gives you a nice arc of what you're going to do. And I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to stick to my ruler in this case, otherwise I'm going to kind of break the yeah, I'm going to kind of break the pattern up, I think. Right, so we're going to go along the lines again. I think we're just going to use parallel lines on this one. I'm going to put another one up there. If you ever want dead parallel lines, just use your ruler. So we've got one parallel line there. We just do another one the width of the ruler. Nice easy way to make sure you get parallel. I'm just going to take it right the way through that. I'm going to put another one. I would like to put another one in there, but my ruler's not long enough, to be honest. So I might put another one down here. See, that line isn't, it's not ideal because that line going down there is not, it's not dead kind of parallel. Years ago, I suppose, when I was at school, you used to have like technical drawing, and we used to use like a T-square and things like that, which, you could kind of line it all up, but I'm not too bothered about it, to be honest now. I'm going to put another line going down there. And I think I need something to break this up as well. So immediately now we've done that, we've created a lot more smaller gaps. So I'm going to start kind of filling in some of those. I'm actually going to force a few more in for me to fill in. So I'm going to put another triangle down there. If you know me, you know I quite like triangles. They're quite useful things. You can be quite random with them. There we go. If you see something you like, just kind of exaggerate. I'll put like a tram line thing in there. Don't know why I say tram line. I suppose it's a tram line, isn't it? Two lines together. Sometimes you get to the stage of design, you think, oh, that works quite well as it is. Could I leave it like that? And it's always one of those things, do you kind of carry on or do you leave it as it is? So, kind of thinking, if I worked on this, this could almost be wrapping paper, which probably isn't very complimentary actually, because sometimes I do a drawing I don't actually like. I say, oh my god, it could be wrapping paper. But there we go, that's what it is. I'm just going to draw around these a bit. A wonky line, but it'll make them show up a little bit more. I'm I'm not going to do all of them. It's too predictable. I'm going to put a semicircle in that one. Okay, and I might do the same in that one as well. Just make it stand out a little bit more. So if you go over the line a little bit like I have there, a bit too much, just exaggerate your black line around it. And then if it goes completely wrong like that, it's not nice and square, nice and circular, just fill the whole thing in and done with it. All right. Okay, I'm quite happy with that. I'm going to extend do some freehand lines along here. So I quite like this arc here. And I think I could take that off like that. And I could extend that like a beam going out, almost like the end of a paper clip, I suppose you could say. I quite like that. I'm going to turn this around. I'm going to do the same down here. So I'm going to put a bit of an arc around that. But I'm going to cross them over this. I'm going to extend it that way. And I'm going to extend one that way. And because I didn't do that too perfect, I'm just going to put a little feature on there. So we can put some dots on the end of this, which I think is going to work quite well. I've done that because it's bled slightly at the end. So just making sure it's still in focus, we're in the right place. Yep, everybody can see everything, hopefully. Yep. These boards are great for drawing on, but obviously if I'm turning it, it's not much good for filming, which is a bit of a shame. But sometimes I do need to turn it, so I haven't much choice. I'm going to need to turn it again. So obviously I'm right-handed, so my lines are kind of going to go more like that. If I try to do something that way, if I want to do that in reverse, it'd be quite hard for me. Depends if you're left-handed, right-handed, but I know it's not going to work very well. So what I'm going to do is twist this around, and then I'm going to start putting some more of these in on this side of the paper. So I'm going to take one. I quite like the look of this actually here, this bit here. So I kind of want it to go around that yellow. So I'm going to take one around here and still leave myself a good angle. It's a bit close to that yellow, but it's okay. Try and get it a bit wider on this one. Right, okay, quite happy with that. Just got away with that. Didn't want that to get too close to the yellow. And I'm going to put another one in. If you can hear something creaking in the background, it's me getting up and down off my chair here. So I'm taking a look in the camera just to make sure everything's in shot. Right, okay, I'm going to do another one down here. So I'm going to go around there like that. And I don't want the angle too acute, so I'm going to out. I think I can probably extend that, like it's a bit too near that line, so I want to actually go through that line. Nobody's going to be watching by this point, so it really doesn't matter anymore. They remind me of sweets, these. They remind me, I don't know, if you're in the UK, which some of you will be, obviously it could be anywhere in the world, but you probably do have in other places as well. We have sweets called licorice all sorts, and they're made by a very old company called Bassett's, and they're like, well, I say sweets, if you're in America, it'd be like a candy, but they kind of had licorice in the middle, and this reminds me of it was like, you get red ones or white ones with licorice in the middle, and it's like a multi-assorted bag, so it's always a bit of a lucky dip when you go in there. It's be great fun. You know what, I kind of quite like this actually. I'm just going to do something here. I've got a few untidy bits. I'm just going to increase those little bits of, put a few dashes in there. And I quite like putting like dashes and things in, just to extend these, to make it a little bit more interesting. When you're putting things like that on, try to make sure that you're not bleeding onto the paper, not picking up any paint or anything from the paper. So I've got a few little vacant bits here. I think this is something I could do with a bit of something up here. I'm just going to move this slightly so I can reach that bit. So forgive me if we do go out of shot a little bit. I'm going to put an extension from here. So I'm going to go. No, I'm going to have to move that around. I'm going to go there. Dots on the end just to finish it off. And the reason I do things like that is to make it just a bit more kind of consistent. So although I do things quite random, I do like some kind of consistency in the designs. I'm actually going to, that didn't work quite well, so I'm just going to get rid of some of that. And I kind of think I might leave it like that, to be honest. That's quite sort of pleasing to the eye painting, nothing too complicated. I could put some more yellows and reds in it, which I might do. See if I can get away with a red stripe going down somewhere. Again, let's give this a go and see how we get on. Obviously, doing this is going to overlap everything else I've done, so I've got to be careful. So if I put one of this on, it's going to go over the other lines, but I think I can probably get away with one going down here. Yeah, I don't want to do too many of those because I think it's going to start to spoil it. And I do want to do, I would like to do a yellow, but I don't know if that yellow is going to bleed. So it shouldn't, if I go on the Sharpies are pretty good actually, because they're kind of pretty resilient and they sink into the paper. I'm going to give this a go. If it bleeds, there's only one way to find out if it does. I'm hoping it's not going to, because I don't really want to spoil it. Have I got, let me just get a dummy piece of paper and just do a little bit on. Don't know if you can see that, probably not, might be off camera, but I'm just putting a line on a piece of paper here like that, and I'm going to let that dry, and I'm going to have a go just to see if that is going to go through. Is that going to bleed? No, it's not actually. I'm going to be good. So I can put a yellow through that, okay? So I am going to do that. And I think it will just boost it a little bit. So I'm going to go, I'm going to put that quite close to that. So in theory, I shouldn't have any bleeding on this. I should have shaken it a little bit more because it's running out of puff. I'm running out of ink, hopefully not. So there we go. It's faded a little bit. Yeah, I think my pen's struggling a little bit, but no, okay, got that. Not too bad. Yeah, it's not the best of pens actually. These pens, as you can see, they do tend to get quite cloggy. So I'm probably going to have to clean that at some point. I'll just put that to one side. I have got another yellow one, which is a lighter yellow. I'm going to give that a go actually, see how we get on with that. And I'm going to do one going across there. Yeah, two different yellows really. One's more of a lemon yellow and one is a more of a kind of sunset yellow, I suppose you could say. So I think as a little painting, I say painting, a little sketch, I think I'm probably going to leave that as it is. So as I say to my students, always sign your work, which is really important actually. There's nothing worse than finding a piece of artwork and not knowing who's done it. It's pretty frustrating. And I just noticed I've got a little circle there with nothing in it, so we just fill that in. I think I've done all my circles now. I've got another one there, something in there. Sometimes you forget these things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sign it. Doesn't really matter where you sign it, as long as somebody can see it. Depends obviously on the design itself. Sometimes I sign stuff on the back if it's on the actual canvas, but more often than not I will actually sign on the front and try to sign it where it's not going to kind of get in the way of everything. I'm just going to put my signature down here, so here we go. Don't get too far to the edge either. If it's something you're going to frame, you don't want that right on the edge, otherwise you're going to lose that. So I think that is going to be it for this session. So there we go. So I hope you've enjoyed seeing that. So that, as I said, the tools I've used for this particular painting, picture, I've used a Sharpie pen there, and I've used these Liquitex acrylic paints. You can get these in packs of kind of 6, or you might be getting packs of 4 even. These are the particular ones of Liquitex. I can use another make I use is called Posca, and they're quite good as well, but I prefer the Liquitex. I think the actual mix of paint's quite nice. And then the other things I've used are these little Faber-Castell pens here, which you can get in any art shop as well. You can buy them individually, I think, as well. But do look after your pens. If you've got a pack of these, they're going to last you probably a year, something like that, and they're really, really good. So always look after your paints and everything and your pens. Keep them in the original packets. Put your lids on. Make sure everything's nice and secure, and then sort of stand you in good stead. So I think that's it for today. Hope you've enjoyed having a quick look at that. Sorry it's taken a bit of a long while, but if you stuck with it to the end, which I very much doubt, I hope you've enjoyed actually seeing the painting. So thanks a lot for your time today. Please feel free to subscribe, give the old thumbs up, and check out the other videos. If I get a good response to this one, I might do some other more live ones, really, and just unedited, and you can see how the whole thing kind of progresses. So thanks a lot for your time today. I shall see you in the next video. Take care and bye for now.